What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Thane Martin Jr. Show, coming at you live from the digital airways of YouTube on the amazing campus of Morehouse College. We have a lot to talk about today in a very short amount of time, so let's get straight into it. But first of all, let me introduce my special guest, very near and dear to my heart, my father, Thane Martin Sr. What's up, man? What's up?
What's going on, son? How you doing today?
I'm blessed by the blessed, blessed by the best. How you doing, man?
Same here, man. Exciting day, exciting weekend. Just having a good one, man. Ready to wrap up the week and get right into the next work week. Take it head on.
Good, good, good. So first, can you talk a little bit about your business and how it is to be a African American entrepreneur in 2024?
Okay. As you know, but obviously most people don't know, that I run a CPA firm. I've been in business for 30, it'll be 30 years come this December. Where we do taxes, accounting, and auditing. Um, I actually merged with another gentleman named Derek Redcross about 5 years ago. So now it's called Redcross Martin and Associates. We do a lot of different things for a lot of different people, mostly affluent African Americans. We have lawyers, judges, doctors, large corporations, large nonprofits, and then we also deal with some athletes and entertainers as well, doing taxes and bookkeeping.
Nice, nice,
And it's
nice.
based in Philadelphia as well.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, let's jump right into it because, like I said before, we do not have a lot of time. So,
Mm.
our first topic is about slave entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. What do you think the difference is between those two things?
All right, so I know what entrepreneurship is. I'm not and I know what entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is someone that that started a business on their own and trying to grind it out and become successful and earn money on their own dime and their own time. Entrepreneurship is when someone is working for someone else, but the owner gives them basically the right to run the business on their own, and then they're rewarded based on how successful they are. So slave ownership, I know as far as a slave, sometimes I feel like I'm a slave entrepreneur. I slave to my own business, to my clients, to my bills. But when you say slave entrepreneur, can you give me a little more context, please?
So, a slave entrepreneur is someone who is hired on their own time from the owner or as a sole proprietor. So they work away from the plantation. They work on their own. Like you said, they build up their own foundation, unlike an entrepreneur where they're like a GM, they're like a director. They work for the slave owner, but they have a lot of decision making and managing that they have to do within the business, like you said. So you
Okay.
were pretty spot on. And that goes to show that those roles haven't really changed over time and how a lot of our history shows up in today's world.
Yep, absolutely.
Which one do you think was more common? Just quick question.
I think it's slave entrepreneurship. I personally don't think they were letting them go do their own things. Otherwise, there'd have been a lot more Harriet Tubmans out there just trying to get in the Underground
Oh,
Railroad
for
trying to
sure,
make
for
it.
sure, for sure. You're correct. Again, entrepreneurs were definitely the more common. Very few slaves were in a position to make enough money to buy their own time and create something new. So a lot of them became entrepreneurs. Why might a slave owner give a slave that responsibility of an entrepreneur?
Oh man, because the black man is the most powerful man, the strongest man. They saw those opportunities. Obviously, they saw that intelligence in the black man and the Negro or the black man at that point in time. So they probably saw their innovations and saw how they were leaders and would give them opportunities to lead. And honestly, as a owner, that's what you want to do. I try to provide entrepreneurship within my own company where I allow people to run with the ball and have some sort of decision making. But of course, I have the ultimate decision making. But I would think they would do that because they want to see their own business succeed, and they want to see what their slaves can do to help their business succeed.
Yes, that's the main fact. That expertise was the main reason. They are black men and women have always been strong and knew how to run. run a plantation, run a business because they've been on it, going all the way back to West Central Africa. They've always been business people, and the white people knew that and knew who to look for and who would do a good job at what they're doing. Also, hiring a black slave was cheaper. It brought them in more profits, and it had a lot of incentives to go towards it. So our third question today was slave entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship primary? Do you think slave entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship was primarily urban or rural?
It's a good question. I'm assuming it was rural. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming it was rural. It might have been uh, uh urban at that time. I that's a question I would have to throw back at you. There's something at a later point in time we can come back onto Uncle Nearest whiskey. I don't know if you ever heard of Uncle Nearest, but we're gonna talk about
I don't
that.
know anything about that type of stuff.
Okay,
But
okay, good. You better not.
it's a common misconception. A lot of people think what you think, but the answer is both. And actually, it was more to the side of the urban because more likely than not, those people were artisans and craftsmen, and that was more of an urban type of time and place that those type of people would be working in. And then two, it was more likely to have time to pursue additional work in urban settings than rural settings. So it was actually a trick question in a way. I was trying to trick you up a little bit, and I think I got you, which is
Yeah, yeah, you got me. I didn't realize that. I would assume there's a lot more slaves,
I would
um,
too, man.
right, and more just more land in rural areas for people for slaves to be to work. So thank you for that knowledge. I appreciate that. Drop a dime on me.
Um, let's flip the script a little bit. Let's talk about slave woman in black businesses and business in colonial America. How do you think slave women were included in the system of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship?
Oh, I'm sure they brought a lot to the table as well. As you know, just directly from your mom, that women bring a lot to the table, specifically black women bring a lot to the table. Obviously, all women bring a lot to the table, but they strong-minded. And many black women back then and to this day still have different innovative ideas, bring up their own suggestions and are able to lead companies and organizations. You can see right now with Kamala, we have the opportunity to have not only the first black female as a president, but also the first female as a president because they're able to lead. So I would assume that those opportunities were given because the slave owners were smart enough to allow them to have those opportunities, but not give them too much rope to allow them to run with the ball too much.
So you were right and wrong. You had everything you said made sense. It would make sense, but they did not respect women back then. They don't respect women enough now, but they definitely didn't respect black women back then. So they fared a lot worse. But when they had the opportunity, they definitely ran with it because, again, like you said, they were strong-minded and intelligent beings. But usually, when they were working in the system, they were more of a product market and yeah, like a distribution market type of worker, and would do their best work in those systems. One key point is that the number one driver for women to buy their freedom was to get their children free. So if men bought their freedom, they wouldn't have their children wouldn't be free. But if a woman did, their children would like fall back within them, if you know what I'm saying.
I do. I do. That makes sense. That makes sense. You know, to me, I understand what you're getting at, and to me, I get that women were suppressed back then. But maybe that's because I live in this 21st century. Because to me, I think men and women bring innately different things to the table. You know, women long time ago they were gatherers and men were hunters. So women tend to like to go shopping now in the mall. They used to go shopping for herbs back then to
Right.
figure out how they're going to season the meat that the man went out and hunted for. So, being that they brought different things to the table, I think that it would have made them more successful. But maybe they didn't want to give them those type of opportunities so that they could feel independent.
I totally agree. And like you said, it's way different times from back then. So a lot's changed and women are finally getting some respect, not enough, but some of the respect that they deserve. Going on to our last topic, talking about state laws to suppress slave economic initiatives. So laws suppressed Black economic initiatives were laws that were suppressing Black economic initiatives were enforced in America from the 17th century until the Civil War. An example was the Maryland law, under which the 1665 case of Calvert v. Wayne was decided that no person shall trade, barter, commerce, or game with slaves without a slave's owner's permission. Variations of this law were enacted throughout the colonies and remained in force during the entire period of slavery. Do you see any of this suppression to your firm where an a white man kind of on top of you, or government, I guess, kind of suppresses your firm that you can't win as much?
Oh, absolutely. Again, I've been in business for 30 years, and absolutely, those are the things that currently happen today. There's different opportunities. I can go on and on over the last 30 years how there was several opportunities that I believe I should have had or should have won. I'll give you one specific one with the Philadelphia Housing Authority. I went out for a contract that we were more than qualified for. When we did the research, we found out that a company in San Francisco won the contract. A larger white organization won from San Francisco for Philadelphia Housing Authority, which in itself is insane because right on their website they said they wanted people from and organizations and companies from Philadelphia so they could continue to circulate the money in the Philadelphia region and help Philadelphia companies grow. But yet they still went over to company in San Francisco. But that's politics. And in life, you'll find out as you go through life, politics it's not what you know, it's who you know, and politics is important.
It's that, and as a Black man, as a Black person, we got to work always that extra amount harder because nothing's going to be given to us, and the white man will always have that step up on us when it comes to anything in life, especially living in America. So time's running out. Thank you for joining. Can you like leave us a way to contact you? And anything else you would like to say? Any final comments?
Yeah, so before I leave, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this, son, to say the least, man. These are type conversations that I know we've had some of these over the years, and I look forward to as you mature having more. I look forward to see you growing in your career so that in life we can have this and I can drop some more informal knowledge on you. But one of the things that I'm going to throw out there to you is to look into Uncle Nearest Whiskey. What we're talking about today as Uncle Nearest went through those type things as far as entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. So I want you to look into that because I think it would be interesting, not only to you, but your viewers. I invite everyone to go and look into Uncle Nearest Whiskey and the history behind Uncle Nearest. Um, so again, thank you for having me. Again, I'm based in Philadelphia. We also have a satellite office in Baltimore. You can always call me in the office. Any tax question, entrepreneurship questions, as you may or may not know, TJ, I used to during Minority Development Week in Philadelphia, I used to always do a seminar for entrepreneurs and starting a business and educating people. So I invite you to anytime, give me a call. My office number is 215-732-1146. And feel free to leave a message. We can always talk. I always liked giving back to those that are trying to start up, especially young Black men and women. So thank you again.
Sir, yes, sir. Thank you for coming on. And thank you guys for listening to the Dane Martin Jr. podcast show. Till next time.
Next
Peace.
time. Peace.